Good morning, Chair and esteemed members of the committee, and to Minister Flack. My name is Andrew Sloan, as I just said, and it is a distinct privilege to be here today representing the incredible community of Central Elgin as their mayor. We appreciate this opportunity to share our thoughts on Bill 9, a piece of legislation that frankly has significant implications for every municipality across the great province, including ours. In Central Elgin, we're not just committed to growth and vibrancy, we are deeply dedicated to upholding the highest standards of accountability and transparency in our local governance. It's what our residents expect and what they deserve. Let me be clear right from the outset, we unequivocally support the core objective of Bill 9, enhancing public trust and accountability within municipal governance by standardizing and reinforcing codes of conduct. That's a goal we can all get behind. The fact that this legislation is being reintroduced underscores a very real sentiment: the public's growing expectation for their elected municipal representatives to operate with the utmost integrity. Central Elgin has strong measures in place to support accountability. Our current code of conduct for members of council, along with a comprehensive procedural bylaw, aims to guide ethical behavior and ensure transparent decision-making for members of council. We're fortunate to have an established and highly respected Integrity Commissioner, Suzanne Craig, who serves as a vital resource for our council and a trusted point of contact for any public concerns. Our commitment to proactive accountability is demonstrated by our recent procurement process for the hiring of the Integrity Commissioner. We built in requirements for an initial meeting between Council and the IC, mandatory training, and annualized reporting. I feel this proactive approach has resulted in a more productive and effective service arrangement. It allows the Council to seek advice proactively rather than only engaging with the IC when issues arise. I'm pleased to report that just recently our Council participated in a comprehensive training session with our new IC. I believe it was a helpful and engaging session leading to productive discussions amongst Council members about our roles and responsibilities. This kind of proactive engagement is something we prioritize. We understand Bill 9 will bring a provincially standardized code of conduct. We support the initiative for promoting consistency and clarity. We expect the new code will cover gifts, benefits, hospitality, respectful conduct, including with the staff, confidential information, use of municipal property. In addition, we hope and believe the standardized code should clarify meeting decorum, social media use, official communication on behalf of council. I believe it's important that the new code clearly integrates with existing workforce harassment policies and support anti-retaliation protection for complainants and mandatory cooperation with the Integrity Commissioner. While we support the bill's intent, as a practical leader of a municipality, I must highlight some key areas, particularly regarding its implementation and potential impact on a municipality of our size. Increased workload for the Integrity Commissioner. We believe it's vital to have clarity on how this increased workload will be managed. Resource implications. Implementing these changes, including mandatory training, will require financial and human resources. We ask the province to provide support mechanisms like dedicated funding, standardized training materials, or adaptable templates for policies. Procedural clarity on seat vacancy recommendations. Well, and I was just listening here in the audience, while the intent to address serious contraventions is clear, we seek further clarification on the established procedural protocols for council votes on recommendations to vacate a seat. Ensuring a fair, transparent, and legally sound process for such a significant decision is paramount. Local context versus provincial standardization. You know, standardization has its benefits, but we're all very unique throughout the province. With these considerations in mind, Central Elgin respectfully offers the following recommendations to the esteemed committee. 1, to develop and provide clear, comprehensive provincial templates and guidelines. 2, offer readily accessible standardized training modules. 3, consider dedicated financial support. And 4, provide detailed procedural guidance. Central Elgin supports Bill 9's goal of strengthening accountability and transparency in municipal governments. Effective partnership between the province and municipalities is key to this implementation. By addressing these practical considerations, we believe the Municipality Act will achieve its goals, fostering greater public trust and more effective local governance across Ontario. Thank you for your time and to listening to Central Elgin's perspective. My thanks to the committee. I must say that we appreciate your outreach. We feel our value is heard on these important issues and are most appreciative. Thank you.
What is something that the provincial government could do to help address those stresses with you?
Thank you very much for the question. We have a budget where a 1% increase translates through to $170,000. So not a lot of industry. As you know, our agricultural friends pay less than market value for their taxes. So for any new program, and as we say, and I like the discussion about things being progressive, penalties. I thought that was an excellent comment. So we're limited in what we can do. We try to offer fiscal responsibility to our constituents. I'll give you an example. I mean, the province, last year we were faced with, as were other municipalities, with increased costs for OPP. That was going to be a real hit. And the province stepped in, which we very much appreciated, and subsidized it for us because that was an unexpected increase due to the labor situation and the costs that were attributed to all municipalities. So I think what we need in areas like Central Elgin is an understanding that we don't have the same budget as some of the larger venues, but we have the same needs. And when it comes to anything that the bill purports with respect to trying to make things more democratic, we think it's an important venture. We think it's important that there's also, to show how important it is, there's a contribution from the province for those that don't have perhaps as much revenue as others. I just wanted to answer your question with one of the issues. Social media is the problem of the lack of respect. People, it's infotainment. People don't think there's consequences for calling people names online. You've all gotten it. Everyone that's an elected official, they call them keyboard warriors, but that to me has taken down. You used to have to write a letter to the editor. They had to check the information. They had to say whether it was true or false, but you can put anything online. And as a newer politician, for me, one of the local mayors said, your skin will thicken. It does. Ultimately, just to say, I think that
Sorry about that, but thank you. We're out of time.
Do you think a centralized or regional system would be useful to assist smaller municipalities with providing access to integrity commissioner services?
Thank you very much for the question. I think there's pros and cons. We have in Central Elgin had 2 integrity commissioners. One which was not as proactive, not as interested in understanding a small community, versus the one that we have now that, as I would say, is far more proactive and gets it. So there's a certain amount of discretion that goes with the integrity commissioners. I think there needs to be some standardization. I mean, I feel I'm mincing words here because you're asking me if I'm a big thinker or a details guy, and in that interview question, you're supposed to hit a little on both of them, I think. But I think a standardization process with perhaps some influence by the actual municipality, as we do on other issues.
Thank you. Before I pass to my colleague, another question is, what do you think are the most important considerations for effective code of conduct that balances the needs of different municipalities?
The most important...
code of conduct. The code of conduct?
For the code of conduct?
Yeah.
I mean, we have a code of conduct at Central Elgin that's very rigorous, and we take issues with, if council breaks the rules, they're taken to the integrity commissioner. She makes a ruling on it. I think that when it comes to providing detailed procedural guidance on how the process works for municipalities is always beneficial. I believe that, when you become an MPP or an MP, I was reading about the recent election, and you have a liaison officer from the Ledge, as you guys call it, or the Queen's or the House of Commons. You also have party systems where there's support. You don't have that in a small municipality. I mean, the CAO gives a call and says, the first meeting is going to be December the 5th. We hope you can make it. So I believe there's opportunities for support that have been mentioned.
I want to focus this second round of questioning on the issue around the vote that could be taken in council following 2 integrity commissioner investigations if there is support for removal of a member. Mayor Sloan, you mentioned this in your comments, that there is a need for clarity around the protocols involved in that council vote. So I would actually appreciate hearing from both of you a little bit more about those concerns, if there isn't clarity, and any suggestions you might have to strengthen the bill and address this issue. So I'll start with Mayor Sloan.
Goodness, I was going to defer to down the hall. Now, Ms. Sattler, you've had far more experience in municipal government through the school board than I have. And I say that only as a mayor for 2.5 years. And I mean, I came here today partly learning from the comment that was made by my colleague here to say that what happens after if there is one vote against. I mean, on a 7-person council, the person that's accused doesn't vote, correct? And then that would be one person recuses, you'd have 5 of the 7 suggesting this person be removed. I'm looking for you. I'm looking to the committee for the answer on that one, because quite frankly, I don't know how that would go. And I brought up earlier how they talked about I think your comment was progressive, wasn't it? Progressive penalty. So I'm going to pass that down respectfully pass down to someone who's been in the job a little more. I know there's an issue, but I don't have all the answers on how that issue is remedied, especially when it's a huge piece of having someone removed from office. And that's for wiser folks than me, I'm afraid. Thank you, through the chair, to the MPP. I had to have 3 hours of training to be on the OPP Police Services Board. I had to have 0 to be the mayor of Central Elgin. In-person training using real examples, opportunities to show best practices, all at the onset of the term. So, I mean, Minister Flack talked about May the 1st. I mean, we have to declare at the end by August something, but on day one, whenever the municipality starts, I think there should be some training. And we have, opportunities, as I say, through the police boards for Elgin County. I had to do approximately 3 hours of training. Very, very, I'm not interactive online. I'm starting to sound like an old person, but I think that would be something, and that would give in-person and real examples that might be applicable.
Do you think a stronger relationship with the Integrity Commissioner of Ontario would enable local integrity commissioners and municipalities to deliver on their responsibility more easily and conveniently?
I believe so. In the short period of time, I think it would be of value to have some back and forth between the two. So I would say yes is the answer to the question.
So I appreciate your comments on knowing that $170,000 is 1% on your tax roll.
$17 million budget.
Yeah. 170,000, sorry?
No, it's 170,000. It's a $17 million budget, so 1% is 170.
Yeah, and I know in my writing I have 7 municipalities, and the smallest, $50,000, is 1% of their. So talking about bandwidth to ensure accountability and transparency, which is an important issue for all our residents, do you get an annual report from your integrity commissioner about the number of complaints and the cost that's occurred in the municipality each year?
Through the chair to the MP Saunderson, we did. I don't know if we did with the last one, we do with the current one. And as I was mentioning, she came in and spoke to us in camera, and we were going to have her back to speak in an open session. So I know we have it. We're going to have one with the last integrity commissioner. I'll ask our CAO. I don't think we did with the last one.
Okay, because I remember we would do the same, and annually we got a report, and on average, I think each complaint, at least the ones that were got past the vexatious point, cost us on average about $8,000. And part of the issue, from my experience on that, was because every municipality may have similar provisions, but they have different wording. And so everything is creating, they're basically building a wheel every time you get a complaint. And so I think one of the big issues I see with the standardized code of conduct is the integrity commissioners know that it doesn't matter which municipality and what the size of the municipality is, the wording is the same. So it's really an application of that wording to the facts. So it actually, in my prediction, would help to assist cap costs. It should become more efficient, particularly as the code of conduct gets applied across the province. Do you think that's the case?
I do, but our previous integrity commissioner charged us even to determine whether a claim was vexatious. So I've seen both sides. And I've seen that there are those that are looking at it more as a profit center than, and I'm not trying to impugn anyone.
50 seconds.
Thank you. I wish it was fewer. I think that to answer your question, I agree with standardization of the rules. I have a little issue with implementation.
Okay. And part of this legislation is requiring the Provincial Integrity Commissioner to be responsible for training of an onboarding of integrity commissioners. So do you think that would help to address your concerns about the differential between how the disparity, I think, in skill sets and abilities of the various integrity commissioners?
I do.
Okay.
I also think that when we look at, people that are new, I talked about training for new people, also people that have been there a long time, because there's two different dynamics at play. If I'd been, the MPP, or sorry, the mayor for 10 years or a councillor for 10 years, well, things will have changed as I've become part of, during my term. So I'm glad that the questions that the committee's taking on are being asked. They're important. And, someone talked about, or respectfully, you talked about whether Nina, said whether or not peers should be the people involved. What about, we done?
I am so sorry, we're out of time.